There's just something special to me about making cake. And I like a fairly simple cake. Well, I like fancy cakes too, but this cake we're going to make today is very simple. It's called a Victoria sandwich. Something I saw online, a quote that I just love. It says, once you realize that you don't need a special occasion to bake a cake, the second part of your life begins. So we get to make a cake just because we want to. No special occasion required. Paul Hollywood of the Great British Baking Show said, if you are new to baking, this should be your very first cake. If you get it right, everything else will be easy. Today we're baking from the book Tartine by Elizabeth Pruitt and Chad Robertson. Those of you that may have been into sourdough bread probably know the work of Chad Robertson because he's made it quite famous from San Francisco and all across the world by now. I'll just share with you briefly what Elizabeth wrote about the Victoria sponge. Victoria sponge, 2 simple sponge cake layers sandwiched with raspberry jam and whipped cream and topped with a dusting of Confectioners sugar. It has been a staple of tea time in the United Kingdom since the early 1800s, when it was introduced to and named after Queen Victoria by its creator, Anna Maria, the Duchess of Bedford. So I think if this cake is good enough for the Queen and the Duchess of Bedford, it's going to be a real thrill for you and me. So are you ready? Let's get started. So to kick things off here, we're preheating the oven to 325 Fahrenheit. That's 160 degrees Celsius. We've lined the bottom of 2 8-inch cake pans with parchment paper, cut to fit easily. Here's a little baking trick I learned from Paul Hollywood. Smooth a little bit of butter on the surface of the pan and your parchment paper will stay right in there. In the bowl of a stand mixer, fitted with the paddle attachment, combine the butter, superfine sugar, and salt. And then we will cream on medium speed for 10 minutes until light and fluffy, stopping occasionally to scrape down the sides of the bowl with a spatula to ensure that all the butter is well incorporated. So are you ready? Let's kick it off. In the bowl of the stand mixer, we're going to combine the butter. So we have 1 cup plus 1 tablespoon or 240 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature. Boom. Blooch. Next, 1 cup plus 3 tablespoons of superfine sugar. That's also 240 grams of superfine sugar. Look at that beautiful sugar. It's just like snow. The beauty of superfine sugar is how easily it incorporates into our recipe. The next thing we need to do is add a half teaspoon of salt. And I like to use superfine, fine sea salt for my baking, especially in Victoria's sandwich. There it goes. So now we're going to cream on medium speed until light and fluffy. Let's see, meanwhile, sift together the pastry flour and baking powder in a medium bowl and sift 3 more times and set aside. Then in a small bowl, we'll combine the crème fraiche and vanilla extract and set that aside. 1 3/4 cups or 240 grams of pastry flour. So now we have 1/4 teaspoon baking powder. Sift, sift, sift. Isn't that beautiful? So now in a small bowl, we're going to combine the crème fraiche and the vanilla extract. It's 1/4 cup or 60 grams of crème fraiche. Oh, that's going to make our cake so creamy with our crème fraiche. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. 1 and 2. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 4 large eggs at room temperature to the butter mixture. And Elizabeth wants us to add these eggs one at a time. There's one. Add the eggs one at a time to the butter mixture, scraping down the mixing bowl after each addition, mixing until smooth. Scrape, 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 scraping down the sides. Egg number 2. There we go. Egg number 3 coming up, going in. And egg number 4. No shells on 1, 2, 3, or 4. Measure twice, break eggs once. Now we want to add the crème fraiche and vanilla and mix well. Adding the crème fraiche and the vanilla. Oh, look at that creamy, beautiful mixture. Ah. Next, we're going to remove the bowl from the mixer and add the sifted flour mixture. Sifted flour mixture. Fold by hand with a rubber spatula until the batter comes together and no loose flour remains. Be sure not to overmix. And so while our cakes are in the oven, we're going to make the raspberry preserves. Nothing like homemade raspberry preserves. Although I'll have to admit, this is the first time I've ever made homemade raspberry preserves, but I'm really excited to try it. And so for this recipe, I've got 340 grams of fresh, organic raspberries from our local co-op, River Valley Co-op. Thank you, River Valley. 340 grams or 2 plastic packages full of organic raspberries. One got away, so now it's 339. Grams of raspberries. That's amazing. 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar. Boom. And the juice of 1 lemon that I just squeezed by hand. It was an organic lemon too. Potato masher, mash away until the juices start to run. Time to check on the cake. Not quite brown yet. We're going to give it another 5 minutes. I don't know if you can see that. Juices are starting to run. Oh, yes, they are. There we go. Place it on the stove and bring it to a boil. Bring to a boil over high heat. Let the mixture cook, stirring with a wooden spoon and skimming off and discarding any foam as it rises to the top with a ladle until the mixture reaches 221 degrees Fahrenheit or 105 degrees Celsius on a thermometer. So we're coming down to the home stretch. We have our cakes, 2 layers. We have our raspberry preserves. Now we're going to make the whipped cream. I love whipped cream. Don't you love homemade whipped cream? In the bowl of a stand mixer, fitted with a whisk attachment, or by hand with a whisk. Whip the heavy cream and granulated sugar until pillowy, soft peaks form. We have 1 cup or 240 grams of beautiful heavy whipping cream. There it goes. And we have 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. Just like that. Let's whip it up and get some pillowy, soft peaks. What do you say? Well, this is really exciting. We're coming down to the home stretch, as I said, and it's time to finish this beautiful Victoria sandwich. So the first thing we're going to do in finishing our beautiful Victoria sandwich is we're going to spread 240 grams of this beautiful raspberry preserves. And I have a confession to make. I made my own raspberry preserves. I've never made raspberry preserves before, and it's delicious. pure organic raspberries, sugar, and fresh squeezed lemon juice, and it just didn't set up for me. It was a bit too runny. So then I boiled it down some more, and then it came out thicker than paste. And so, thank you, Bon Maman, I had to cheat. I went to the grocery store and I bought the finest raspberry preserves that I could find, and Bon Maman is perfect. So we're going to go with that. All right, my friends. Beautiful, beautiful raspberry preserves. Just like that. And we want it to come right up to the edge, but not to be spilling over too much. How much of a mess can I make? That's the question. There you have that beautiful whipped cream. Look at that. Wow. Okay. Here we go. Let's call it a sandwich. How do you think we did? And now for my next trick. I've taken a paper doily and we're going to use this as a stencil for some powdered sugar. This is an experiment. This wasn't in the recipe. I made this up all by myself. Well, okay then. This is my big experiment. I'm either going to make a terrible mess out of this cake or possibly a very pretty design. So here we go. Powdered sugar. And now the big reveal. Not bad, not terrible. Sort of what I had in mind. And maybe just a few beautiful raspberries. And that's gonna have to do. This is my version of Victoria's sandwich. Look at that beautiful cake. Isn't that something? Here we go. It's moist, it's soft, it's sweet. I really hope you try this at home. This is a wonderful classic British cake. And do please leave comments in the comment section below this video. So if you enjoyed this video, please do click the thumbs up like button. Subscribe to my channel, because that helps us produce more yummy videos for you to watch. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.